kind of conversation that I've had with my mom where she'll be like, be very careful what you say. We do very much believe in the power of words.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can understand your mother saying to you, you have no idea. You have a very specific
Yeah.
idea right now of what your life is going to be. And if you stick to that one thing, as you say, that identity of that thing can take more control of your life than actually the spirit moving you or you and yourself. Blessings just being blocked left, right, and center because you have
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
idea of what your
Yeah.
life is supposed to look like, or what family is supposed to look like, or what parents are supposed to look like.
Yeah.
We have all these ideas, as you say, from society, largely from Eurocentric society, of
Yeah.
what the world is supposed to look like, what our lives are supposed to look like. And if we just stay in those mindsets, nothing changes, meaning we don't change, the world doesn't
Yeah.
change,
Yeah.
nothing evolves, nothing gets better. All those people, again, no shade, that stay in their jobs for their entirety of their lives unhappily
Mm-hmm.
because they think that that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you
Yeah.
should do, which is a word I really wish was not in the English language. I hate the word should because I don't think that that's a thing that should exist.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? You like
there
that play
you go.
on words?
I love that.
Ah,
That's fun.
okay. Thank you for all of your wisdom thus far. And let's get back to some questions
Okay,
about your
I'm ready.
journey.
Thank you.
So you got into NTS, and
Uh-huh.
then what happened from there?
A lot of things happened. I was in a class of 11. I was the only person of color. I was eager to learn, as most people are going into theater school. I was especially eager because I was new to the country. It was year 3 for me. I had done theater in America. So I was like, okay, what does it mean? Theater in America in high school. Chill. Like I was in Midsummer Night's Dream in a high school production. Like, let's all relax. Like I was like a brother in Titus Andronicus who died in the first 5 minutes. Like it's like I did not have a career. Let's relax. Anyway, so NTS. So I came to Canada. I was so open to learn. I just think of little baby Tasha then. Being a theater school artistic director and an instructor is such a beautiful gift. You have people's hearts are so available and they want to learn. That's why when people go through abuse, they're so upset when they get out because they gave so much and they paid money to be there. And so when people are always complaining about theater school, I'm like, dude, so don't. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot as little young people coming into, our professions. And so anyway, all that to say, I came into theater school with an open heart. And I got taught the classics were the foundation. If I can do Shakespeare, I can do anything. Here's Shaw, here's Chekhov. And I'm grateful for all of these things. I'm not throwing shade at NTS. I had a lot of difficult things that were, I think, unavoidable in terms of where all of my white peers came from, how much they didn't interact with Black people. I held a grunt of a lot of their first experiences, really being so close to a Black person. So that was hard. And I changed a lot. I changed for them
Mm.
sometimes. And they wanted me to be this idea of Blackness in their mind. And I gave it to them because I didn't know how else to survive. And then when I went home, I was Natasha. And when I came in, I was like this Black, African American, loud, Black, funny girl. And then, of course, as God has grace for all seasons, like after that, I had a lot of unlearning to do in terms of what I thought of myself as a performer and my identity. Like, who was I? But the theater school gave me the confidence to tackle work. Like going to Shaw, where I met you, was like easier after theater school.
Did you go straight from NTS to Shaw?
I had a year and then I went to Shaw. So it was pretty back to back. I was just talking to one of my friends about this. It's like when I do the unlearning now, I realize that whenever people say they don't like Shakespeare or they don't like certain things of the classics, I'm not of that school. Like I think Shaw is cool. I understand what he's offering. I understand what
Right.
Shakespeare's offering. I
They're
understand what
offering
Chekhov's offering.
specific
And
things.
it is great. My problem is the superiority game that we like to play with those pieces of text. Because I actually don't think if you can do Shakespeare, you can do anything. If I'm doing a piece that's written by a poet in Zambia who Like, I just think that the format of Shakespeare does not negate, like, does not, is not equivalent to any other theatrical form. I think that that's might be a mistake of the characterization of what Shakespeare can do for an actor. At the same time, I understand the skills that you can get from doing Shakespeare and how those skills are useful. I think it's the leveling up above other things that I have a problem with, and that I think is actually just untrue, while still being able to say it's good work. So,
It's part of the reason why we're having this conversation, because the concept that the Eurocentric histories of these particular people being above any other playwright, any
exactly.
other
Yeah.
piece of text, any other writer, any other director, actor, whatever, that Eurocentric viewpoint, that that is the be all and end all. And if you can do that, then you are a great actor,
Yeah.
is a misnomer. Because
Yeah.
I think that as we evolve, we can see that there are many different facets to being a great actor, to being a great
Yeah.
writer, to being a great director, etc., etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
Or just
And
even existing in different stories. Like,
exactly.
I don't know if you feel this as an actor, but sometimes I'll get a part and I'll be like, yeah, that sits in me easy. You get a part and you're like, what is this? Like, human beings are creating these works. Human beings come from so many different things. You're going to approach that text, it's going to be different. I also think that there's this thing about geniuses. That's something that I heard a lot of in theater school. This great director, this great, there was this sort of like platform that people were put on. And the problem with this genius idea is that it's very isolating. It's like the 1%. It's like there are these really genius people who, like, I'm sorry, they're genius, so you can't take them off the platform. You can't take them out. They're up here. I'm like, no, if we all have a facet of God inside ourselves, we all have something to offer. Why are we declaring yours to be the best offering of all offerings? It's a great offering. No one's taking that away from you. But it is not the be all and end all. We do not have to bow at this shrine. Like, no.
But that's the
That's the
same
problem I
thing.
have. Yeah.
That's the same thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That's the
No,
same
please.
thing though for conversely. So like being put on the genius platform for that person is isolating as well, because let's say, the next work they do is not genius.
Yeah, right.
And then all of a sudden the weight of that, the weight
Yeah.
of having been
Of
a
being a
genius,
god.
and then falling off such said
Yeah.
platform, there's amazing work that we can call it amazing without putting people on a specific platform that they have to fall off of, because
Yeah.
your fall is only as great as how high you are up. If we just recognize that everybody has, as you say, a piece of genius or quality or greatness in them, then
Mm-hmm.
this particular work, whether it be acted, written, spoken, painted,
Yeah.
that particular work resonates with me in a very specific way that I think it's the best thing that I've ever seen. However, that doesn't mean that that's what you think is the best thing that you've ever seen. And that's the
Yeah.
whole other conversation.
Yeah.
People are like, oh my God, if you're an opera singer, you are the best singer on the planet, bar none. I think that that's a very specific skill. Oprah is not the same kind of host as Ellen is. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But they're great at what they specifically do. Award shows, for example.
Yeah.
Not that I don't think that they shouldn't exist. It's fine. It's great to recognize great work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's that pedestal. You put that person on
Yeah.
like when you win one, great. You win two, great. You win three, you're just waiting to
Yeah.
not win again.
Yeah.
Or
It's such a, yeah, you're right. It's such a strange system that we're all subjected to. Even Stephen Sondheim, as wonderful as he is, there's some musicals that people widely would be like, it wasn't great. And that's fine, because that's being human.
it's being
Lin-Manuel's
human.
Miranda next musical, who knows? Like, it may not be great, and that's okay. It may just be fine. And that has to be okay. But it's like this topping off. It's like in the heights, and then like like it has to keep going up. And like, it's just such an interesting thing. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, of what the label of that is in my mind, but it is something that we see all the time.
I've had this conversation with people before regarding, what jobs we take, right? So, the pinnacle of doing anything is being on Broadway, let's say, for a theater performer, being on Broadway. But I've seen a lot of crap on Broadway, and I've seen a lot of
Mm-hmm.
crappy actors on Broadway and dancers,
Mm-hmm.
etc., etc. Like I've seen not great things done on Broadway.
Yeah.
So when we put that pedestal on, it's Broadway,
Mm-hmm.
let's
Mm-hmm.
say, it's Shaw, it's Stratford. then it
Mhm.
negates all this amazing work and all these amazing actors who are not on those platforms,
Mhm.
you know, who are not on those particular stages. It
Yeah.
negates all of our creativity, all of our, and some of those things, some of those people, some of that work is not profitable in the way that producers think it needs to be in order to get shown. So
Mhm.
then you're
Mhm.
then you're grappling with a whole other kind of conversation, because now you're really negating the power of my work because you don't think it's profitable. You're one
Oh yeah.
person
Yeah.
and you don't think it's profitable. So it's like a
Well, this
whole
yeah.
that whole conversation I think is a very interesting one to negotiate,
Negotiate.
and negate, and
Like
negate.
and negate.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode of the Blacktor Studio.
You went to NTS?
Yes. Listen, that was not intentional. It was my glasses were resting on the bridge real heavy. I just had to readjust it in that moment. And I
Okay,
looked at
okay.
myself. It's a trap. Don't look at yourself. Kids, don't look at yourself on Zoom while you're interviewing. It's a trap. Please continue.
I did an interview and the interviewer consistently was like,
Yeah, it's a trap.
it's a trap.
I'm a,
So I
yeah.
am there. I had to learn, for example, this. It's so much on camera and I do it all the time. Like I'd be like, girl. I was like, oh, that's too much. You gotta
You have to fight the
fight the urge,
girl.
fight the urge to reach through the camera to the person
Yeah.
you're talking to. But I digress. So then you went to NTS.